Hi guys, hope you can hear me. I hope we are live. Right, yeah. Another episode of Rajapot Podcasts. And we are here live today. We are going to be live with Sharon Shergill, one of my friends back from UK. And we both were from, a retail sector. So, yeah, let's add her in. Hi Sharon, if you're here. So while she joins us, our topic for today is, retail behavior. Um, Between topics like quite luxury, sustainability, diversity. Now, these things itself, these topics are pretty huge, to be honest. It can't be covered in just one day or, half an hour, 1 hour podcast. But yeah, we'll try our best that we, cover it up. Let's see if Sharon could join us. Can someone comment if they can hear me or not? Sharon. She's unable to join for some reason.
Hello.
Hi, Sharon.
Hi,
Hi.
Priya. Can you hear me?
Thanks for joining in.
It's okay.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
having me. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for joining with us. We really appreciate, you being here with us. Can everyone hear us, please? Yeah, they
Yeah,
can hear
they can hear us. Yeah,
us.
we're okay.
Right. Right. So let me start a little bit with Sharon's introduction because it's been 3 years since I've met Sharon, to be fair. We worked together in Selfridges ages ago. That's how we that's how we kind of like got to know each other. Um, yeah, we obviously have left retail for good now, I think. Right?
Hopefully, a distant memory for now.
Right. So, yeah, let's just hope the best for both of us, to be fair. Right. So, yeah. Do you want to introduce yourself, Sharon, for like
So
bit?
I'm Sharon. Yes, we've known each other for more than 3 years. Firstly, Priya, that's
Of
incorrect
course, yeah.
information.
No, I mean like that's the last time we met. Like,
Yeah,
it's
it's
been
been a
three
very long
years since we met. Yeah.
time. Currently I work in telco, but I do like to keep on top of I like to review the business trends, sort of like fashion trends, I guess. And your brand definitely has been an inspiration, and following how you've gone from strength to strength has been really inspiring. So I'm excited for our conversation today, definitely. But thank you for having me again.
Thanks for coming in. Thank you. Right. So our thanks, Sharon, for your introduction. Yeah. So our topic is quite diverse itself. Like, it's quite a huge topic, few topics that we're gonna cover, but it definitely does make sense in today's era that these things are talked about more often, right?
Definitely.
So, yeah. So, how do you want to do it? Do you want me to ask the questions, or you want to go first? How do you want to do
Should we bounce off each other if you want to ask, and then we can start conversation from there, and
it?
then I can drop mine
Sure.
in? Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, let's do that first. So, do you want to go first?
Okay. From your point of view, which retail store would you say represents ideal sustainability to label Raja? Because I know, especially, I love seeing how you guys are really pushing for sustainability and actually genuinely seeing it through. I wanted to know your viewpoint of that from like other retail brands that, like, for example, where we used to work at, I feel like is a great example. But yeah, go ahead.
Right. You know what? Like, that's a really good question, to be honest. I've always tried to relate to just one brand, but I never could. Like, there isn't just like, because every brand has their own ethos, their own ways of seeing sustainability, as a matter of fact. So there wasn't just one, like, not like there wasn't a specific name, like it never popped up in my head, that, okay, so and so brand is like the go-to brand for so and like it didn't define for me, like, no, none of the brands do. And I understand it's difficult, even like, even we, since, we are a sustainable brand, we struggle a lot. Like it is a thing that is new to the industry. So I think we have a lot to cover, as a sustainable, fashion itself, like, as a topic
Yeah.
itself. But I think they're individuals, they're in, in fashion, who
Yeah.
have inspired me a lot to carry on with, my researches or my work, or or different, like how to be sustainable, basically, like, so like if we have, say, a certain, sort of like, capsule collection,
Hmm.
how do we get around, so there have been like designers. One, a very, definite name that comes in my head is Orsola Di Castro. She, I think, is, she lives in UK, but she's not originally from there. But her ways of, loving pre-loved, items, or her ways of, mending something and using it again and again, her ways of, taking things slowly in fashion has inspired me a lot, to be fair. And definitely, like, if I could meet her someday, if she ever sees this live, and she thinks that, okay, it's worth meeting Priyal or the brand, I'll be so glad to just, share, ideas and stuff like that. So yeah, I think she has definitely, inspired me a lot, when it comes to, stuff like this. Yeah. Uh, I hope that answered. Like there hasn't been a, certain brand in my
Definitely.
head ever that, that covers, the sort of, genre for
I
me. Right. So I'll, um go ahead with my question. How how do you think are retailers blending with the idea of quiet luxury, as they majorly run on bold logos? Like, wherever we go, we see, especially in retail space, like it's all about logos, like bold logos written all over the, hoodies or t-shirts and stuff like that. So how do you think it goes for, retailers, like that must be quite hard, don't you think?
I definitely think, but I think that the brands are the thing that sort of keep retailers on a leash in terms of they sort of follow, what the brands are doing. So, when it was all big bold logos, like you said, GG written all over the top and the front, and like a big Alfie print everywhere. I think brands are slowly realizing that less is actually more, and retailers have no option but to follow what the brands actually do because they are the leaders essentially. So, I think the brand, even the retailers themselves, like, those retailers sort of copy the big brands like Zara and New Look and those H&M. They're realizing as well, you don't need to do these big flamboyant things, but at the same time there is also the market there for both quiet and like loud brands as well. But I think quiet is sort of becoming more of a trend, but I think it's definitely more brand led and the retailers just have to follow. But I agree with you, when you walk into a shop, like where we used to work, it would be big brands everywhere, like in your face. You have to buy it now. I think they're slowly realizing that subtle is better, and you don't need to do all this to get the attention. Where sometimes the quiet luxury is actually less, it's harder to get hold of, isn't it? So it's like, yeah, we want more of that. So that's my
Fair enough.
viewpoint of it. What do you think, though, from your point?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, it's more about the quality these days, and, the customer base, they're getting even more savvy day by day because, the sources, the internet, the books, the everything that's there. They know what at least a bunch of them at least know what they're wearing. And I think it's people with old money as
Yeah,
well who don't want to show off with logos and stuff like
I
that.
agree.
and and I've seen this, a lot in, young designers as well. Like they try to, get the whole, heritage thing out or the sustainability bit out than their logos and stuff like that. So yeah, it's definitely, getting cultured
Yeah.
more and more every day, definitely.
I think
Yeah.
we had that point like for good like during 2010 to like 16 where it was all these big brand logos, stripped
Definitely,
down,
yeah,
big eyeliner, big
yeah.
terrible memories thinking about that. What were we
But
all thinking?
my favorite part was like, Valentino written VLTN all over like cross. That I think that just peaked, when we talk about branding and logos and stuff like
But
that.
we,
Definitely.
we were all so happy and eager to buy it as well. But sorry.
Right. So, okay, Mike, oh, you go ahead with your next question, definitely.
Um, how does like label Rajay ensure sustainability? So what would you say you do in your daily practices? Because we see it, but I think it's nice seeing like, what you do, like just nice to hear it from yourselves, what you would say that you do to ensure sustainability.
Thank you for asking me this question. Because like when you work for a brand, you constantly are doing thing, and for when it comes to developing a product, or even when the manufacturing bit is there, or the back scenes, which I may say, we know what goes around. But when it comes to the branding bit, or when it comes to speaking or telling the story, I think we somewhere, if we get so lost in making it, that we are not talking enough. And I have felt this quite often, that okay, this, I did so much work behind this collection, and I think I didn't speak enough of it.
Mhm.
I didn't tell people like what all work went behind it. Because the thing is that the moment you launch a product, you have to then see sales, and then see other bits, and till you were done with that, there's another collection coming in. And so it's just, you get all wired up. So that happens quite a lot, especially for a smaller startup, or a small business like us. Right.
Definitely.
How we do is, I want to say this loudly.
Yes.
Like how, like how we do is, like, say whatever collection we are in. So even if it's ethnic wear, or Western wear, or men's wear, or just a capsule collection, what we do is, first of all, like, we try our best to source the fabric from directly from the weavers.
Mm.
So, that way they get benefited directly. Like, that's one thing that I have made sure from my end, that I wouldn't like do it any other way.
No.
Like, we wouldn't, right? That's one thing. And after, when it's like, after the designing's done, after we have, and obviously the designs are always based on how less we waste,
Yeah.
like, be it during the actual design processes, or during manufacturing, or just cutouts, just layouts of the fabrics, and how you cut it, how do you manage waste, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
That's there, right? And then obviously, no matter how much you try, there's going to be something that comes out as a
Yeah.
waste. But then again, what we do is, we make small items. So if you go and check out our website, it has accessories that is made out of the cutouts of our own, made garments.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to process in smaller bits then. And after that's done, then there's a homeware section that we run, in our physical shops here. um, then what we do, like, we get obviously further bits of fabrics or other chunks. We
Mm-hmm.
then break it down into fibers. We get it broken down into fibers, and then we use it for like fillings, or cushion fillings. So that way, I think that's how we're trying to be sustainable. And obviously we would love to use other technologies and other bits as well. Other thing that when we talk about software, a lot of our projects are done from Flow 3D as well, the Western design, especially
Mm-hmm.
because that way you don't have to waste fabrics or material in prototyping.
Yeah.
a lot of time saved as well.
Mhm.
So yeah, they're like, very, it's a very complex, a way if you call yourself a sustainable brand,
Yeah.
because there's so much, and it's such a vast thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm just like, lying in the heaps of everything. I'm like, okay, we need to make something out of this. This is not going in waste. You know,
Whether you
there've
like it
been
or not.
sometimes when I don't pick your calls, trust me, that's what I'm doing. That's probably what I'm doing.
Where are we going? How?
Gee.
What are we gonna make of this? Yeah,
Yeah,
but
it's
it's
been
really
crazy.
inspiring. I think, like, you actually go out your way, cutting out the middleman as well, going directly to the weavers. And I think it's something that you do need to speak on from the rooftops because, some people just want ease of convenience, whereas you're actually going out your way to do the extra things, utilize those extra materials and make something of it. So, of course, nothing goes to waste. So, I'm really happy for you. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. You've been an inspiration. Like, you keep me going. Like your texts, your messages. It's just like, guys, if you don't know, like I am talking to one of my, motivational speaker, if I might say. Like, she
You're my
motivates me.
motivator as well. We motivate each other, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's
honestly,
been a blessing. It's been a blessing, definitely.
yeah, I just can't believe this is the first time we're actually properly speaking in 3.5 years. But I'm grateful for it.
Me too. I'll try my best going forward. I'll try. I'll call you even from the heaps.
Oh, I know. We can make a decision together what we're going to make.
Yeah.
Creative.
Okay.
Right.
Right. So my next
Oh, is it
question.
your
Yeah.
turn? Oh, I don't mind. I can ask another question.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, so I'm following on from the sustainability as yourselves, you do a lot of it. But do you feel like there's any specific brand that maybe for you is a great replica, like, or someone that you look up to in terms of sustainability potentially?
I think, again, as I said, I haven't found one, specific brand for it. Like I would be glad if, like something comes out, like I just have to like do what they are doing. Like I need to do that. I need to,
Yeah.
double check if I'm doing this right or not. But I really think brands like, brands who focus on functionality,
Hmm.
and brands who are, talking more about how to carry on with their heritage work.
Hmm.
I think they are doing a good job when we talk about sustainability, because sustainability is not necessarily only saving the planet. It's also about how ethical you are in making your choices, right?
Yeah.
So I think Rick Owens is one of the great people, and Maison Margiela, like I think they are doing some amazing work. Like, it's, I think sometimes, their collections would come out, and you would go and you're like, okay, wow, this design's amazing.
Hmm.
And when you go to the, to their storytelling area, like what's the story, right?
Yeah.
I think that amazes me even more. Like, wow, wow, you just aced this whole thing, and I'm just, I'm this peasant, like just admiring your fabrics. It's been, yeah,
Just
it's
being
been
a
there.
fan.
Yeah. And I think a lot of Indian brands as well, like the way they have crafted their, genre, their techniques, even like the way they have, safeguarded the whole, heritage bit. It's amazing, like how much they have considered, all the bits about
Yeah.
it. Like I just feel like, oh, I'm nowhere when I see these brands. Like, okay, this is something worth knowing, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, yeah,
But I think,
these few brands.
sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, I was done. Yeah.
I think that what you're saying though, like you've already done as much as you possibly can, like from your business point of view, like you've cut out as much as you possibly can. You utilize everything, so you shouldn't be so harsh on yourself because these are bigger brands. They've got more time and resources to invest in it. I think you
No,
should.
definitely. It's just like thanks for that, by the way. But like it's always also like okay, a human brain can think that much,
Yeah,
you know?
it's multiple human brains together in a
Yeah,
room.
definitely. I agree. I agree. No offense. I agree. Like they are big. They're bigger players.
Yeah,
But at the same time, like like I just think like okay, that should have crossed my mind sometime. Like like.
I think that as well sometimes. Why did it hit my mind and it hit theirs?
Yeah. So yeah, it's about that, and I really appreciate what they're doing about it. Definitely.
But I
Yeah.
think that's why these big brands we look up to for inspiration because they can lead the world in terms of the next generation
Yeah.
and what will come forward.
Absolutely.
So that's
Yeah.
quite exciting for the
Yeah,
future.
it is.
Did you want to?
Right.
I don't, yeah,
Yeah,
you go.
so my next question from you would be, right, so you know how we are covering the diversity bit as well.
Hmm.
And since we both of our, backgrounds of, really, ethnic, so we could definitely resonate a lot about it, around it as well.
Definitely.
So what do you think, is there still a hope, for diversity in the retail sector?
I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done in the retail sector. I think it's still very stuck in its old ways in a way, just because it's like the same, people walk around the shop. Like, yeah, e-commerce has definitely picked up over the years and it will probably be, going forward. But I think there's definitely so much to do. There's so many new designers, there's so many young up and coming artists as well that I think if brands and retailers also just invested in them a little bit more, they would see that diversity. Like in Birmingham, for example, where we're based, there's so much, it's so multicultural, but there's probably like one or two shops only now in the Bull Ring. But it's like, there's so much that can still definitely be done. But I think it's those small heads that are sat in the offices that need to discuss what's next and upcoming rather than being stuck in what sort of sells sort of thing. If you don't take the risk, I don't think you'll ever know. So that's my viewpoint of
Fair
it.
enough, fair enough. Yeah. No, I get it. I get what you mean. Like, what would be that one thing that you would do to like,
What would I do?
change it? Yeah, like,
I think we need like rather than the same Western fashion, there's so much other fashion that you can explore that will open up to different markets. Like our
mm,
backgrounds, for example, so many other backgrounds and people that wear different things culture to culture as well. There's nothing of that. It's always the same jeans, t-shirts, skirts, dresses. It's never like anything that could fit a different type of culture. And retailers, I think, are also forgetting that there's another market there as well from a
yeah,
selling point of view that you could benefit from essentially. So yeah,
definitely.
that's my viewpoint. I think just exploring a little bit more of getting out of the Western, the same old clothing as well. But maybe I'm also just very
Going
black and
beyond,
white.
going beyond that, those huge logos on a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and we're going into more quite luxury as well. I think they are those sort of subtle brands. I know this is going back a little bit, but they are more subtle, but they are also, I think, more fitted to every sort of culture. Whereas sometimes these big brands a certain type of culture or certain type of people only wear certain type of things. So I think there's also the profit margin as well that a lot of businesses may be missing out on as well. But
Fair
maybe
enough.
me.
Hopefully.
What about you? What do you think?
What do I think? Right. I think they should, educate themselves more. Like, I think if retail sector, like, right, if they conduct probably workshops
Hmm.
or, probably, more training, sort of like environment where they get to learn what it is like, I understand not everyone knows everything and not everyone grows up in the same sort of like, environment and everything. But I think if retail sector really want to like claim this idea of diversity, I
Yeah,
think they should conduct workshops where people are engaging with other people and trying to know like okay what exactly it is to be an Indian or
yeah,
other country person or whatsoever. I think they rather than banging on about the fact that okay we are diverse because we have included so many people of different colors. like try to educate what it actually means, and like try to probably know yourself like what exactly it stands for.
Yeah.
I think that would help us massively if we talk about being
Yeah.
diverse. Definitely.
I
Yeah.
think diversity goes further than just having the people in your business, having the people in your
Exactly.
team. I think
Yeah.
people think that, oh, we cover that, okay, that's it, it's box office done. But it's like,
Yeah.
it's so much more deeper than that. Like the past and everything is just so much more to go into it. And that's why I agree. The only way you can actually educate these people is by sort of sitting them down and, being like, okay, this is not abnormal. It's actually a different culture. You need to learn about it. Because
Yeah.
sometimes I think in the Western countries, I think sometimes there's a little bit of ignorance, like where ignorance they think is sometimes bliss, which is why I think, sometimes retail hasn't gone far as it probably could have in life. But yeah, that's my personal opinion.
No, you are right. Like, I think that's a very generic opinion as well. I think a lot of people can resonate what you feel that way.
Yeah,
Also, like, the ignorance, like being ignorant is one thing, but if you're making that if you're normalizing your ignorance,
yeah,
that's where the problem is. Because if I'm ignorant, I could possibly be, but if I am not willing to learn about, okay, what's wrong about my
yeah.
ignorance, that's, I think, the problem is. So yeah, I definitely agree with what you just said.
I also think, sorry to add on more, I
No,
think
of
from
course, of course.
consumer perspective, we get very happy with the bare minimum. So we get happy with, yeah, oh, there's people of ethnicity working in a company, or oh, look, there's ethnic people on a poster or whatever. And we don't actually look to be like, okay, but that's not enough. There's still more that can definitely be done. So I think to a
Definitely.
point, consumer and retailers, we both have a part to play in all of this. It's not just, one side, and it is the other side as well, that we get happy with just being given the bare minimum when we should shout for more, we should want more, because we all deserve the same. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. That, I
Shall
think
I
that,
ask you?
as I say, it's huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
I think this whole topic, there's so much to delve into, like there's so many points to think of, but yeah. um what is so this is going back on to quite luxury very briefly, but I don't think you do have a favorite quite luxury brand though, from what you said though initially at the start, if I'm correct.
Uh, you know, I think not a brand, but I think what Kering's or LVMH people are doing, they are the big ones, right? I think they have done quite good,
Yeah.
like I think they are the they have started this in a way. I think we all can agree with,
Yeah.
like all the Kering brands, if you see, okay, not all, probably the new ones are fast fashion,
Mm-hmm.
but if you see the very old brands, I think that's that were those were their motto to start the brand, because they just wanted to give quality and forget about everything else. But since things evolved, brands evolved, and they wanted to keep up with the trends and stuff like that, I think that's when they were like, okay, let's just include this as well and see where we go. And so I think they are, I think, one of the flag bearers of them, that as well. Plus, I think, as I said, like the brands who are selling quality
Mm-hmm.
definitely would think more about, okay, what comforts my people, like my customers, what do they want from here, like they don't want to show off. It's more about how they feel in everything that we produce. So I think, yeah, I think the classic and the old brands, they are definitely doing this really well
Yeah.
than the others, definitely. Yeah.
I think it's like old money as well that's like
Yeah.
just a little bit into play, because old money like doesn't have to shout about, oh, I'm basically rich and I can afford all these.
Yeah.
Whereas it's more like new money or something
Mm,
where people feel the need to be a bit more flamboyant, which I understand, I completely get it. But I think you can always differentiate between old and new money. You can see like the quiet luxury
mm,
brands and those brands that are just here for the short term
mm,
and like
mm.
fashion sort of thing. Because these brands sometimes they die every season so new that you can't even keep up to date with it. I don't think sometimes like Gucci and LV are just some of the few.
That's right. Whereas if you see like Zara and brands like there was a brand Forever 21 if you remember, right?
Yes. Oh,
So they were doing 52 collection a year. Like, wait, where, what?
that's a collection a week.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it was. And that's how it still is, and yeah, it's just crazy.
Like
I
pretty
think
as well, like those
yeah.
sorts of brands. Like, what will be the future, honestly? Okay. While we're still on the discussion of brands, I want to ask you, like, from your point of view, being the owner of Label Rage, do you have a favorite style of clothing, whether it be from your own brand or another type of brand? Like, it'd be interesting to know your personal opinion of that.
My personal like style. So, the very first thing that comes to my mind is obviously the functionality, like
Mhm.
how my garment is functioned. Like if the pockets are at the right place. If my pockets are not at the right place, I can't I can't. Or if my
What
garment doesn't have a pocket, like put a pocket on it and I'm gonna wear it or not. So yeah, I think functionality. And since you've known me, you would know that it's more about comfort for me. So I'll rather, be in my baggy pants and baggy t-shirt than, being more blingy about it because comfort for me is fashion, to be fair. Like, I feel like, I can express myself more when I'm comfortable in what I'm wearing. So yeah, definitely. Like, I think comfort and functionality and, a little bit of detail, like, it just adds up. Like, that's something I would prefer when, I would want something, or if I see, even if I'm designing, I try to, incorporate these few bits where, you are doing more than what you've promised as well. It's just, these are the factors that, people get attached to rather than, the blingy stuff. So yeah, I think, yeah, these three things would definitely be it. What do you prefer when you, state that, okay, this is my type of clothing, like this is something I would wear?
I completely agree with you. I think, firstly, I've definitely come onto this less is more sort of thing, like phase as I've gotten older. Like, you don't need to have, like you said, these big brands, these big logos. Like, sometimes I will wear something unbranded and, like, I don't care anymore. Because, like you said, comfort comes first. I'd rather sit in my hoodie and, like, a nice, comfortable pair of leggings or joggers rather than, like, these tight leather pants that I just am uncomfortable in. I'm not happy. So yeah, for me it's definitely, once I completely agree with you, comfort and just where are the designs on it, sort of like, like sometimes it's around the pocket, sometimes it's just around the neckline or something, and that's all you need. You don't need to do too much to make an impression, I think, sometimes. So yeah, I completely agree with you on that one. Comfort and then less is more.
Right. Do you want me to ask you a question or you have more?
Yes, you can ask me a question because otherwise I'll
Yeah.
run out of questions.
No, I'll be out, don't worry. Right. If you have to, like, sorry, I'll go about that later because I think I just asked you that. How far do you think we have gotten when it comes to, being sustainable, in the retail space?
Do you want to know my answer?
Of course, I want to know your answer.
I personally, I'm quite biased on this opinion, just because where we worked, for me, I think opened a lot of eyes. So, I think we couldn't even get the basics right in my eyes. We always would scream about recycling, but we knew what would happen at the end of the day. So for me, I feel like big retailers, the likes of H&M, Zara, which we know about the H&M recycle your clothing, which wasn't even actually, true. The Zara situation, like all these sorts of brands, I feel like it's one thing to say to be sustainable, but I think actually doing the doing is a very different thing. And I think the bigger they get, the bigger they are, the harder it is for them to actually maintain that if it's something that they're trying to integrate into their business. But I think they've got a long way to go, because I think they're trying I think they're trying to do a lot of like this whole keeping up with the trends and stuff, and I don't think they actually care in a way, because for them I think it always comes down to a lot of revenue, what's new and popping. They don't actually care about the impact it will have on the planet and like the future as well for a lot of people. So I personally think that there's so much that they can do, but I think they won't do, because I think they're just comfortable, you know, they've been in this cycle, they're very established brands, they haven't got anything really to
It's all
lose.
about the money.
Exactly. They've got nothing, exactly, revenue, that's it. They won't, like, even when stories come out about these businesses and stuff and what they support and whatnot, people still continue to go and purchase from them. So it's literally no skin off their back. So I'm quite passionate about this. But I think that it's like they could do so much more, but they won't do so much more, unfortunately. But yeah, what do you think though? Maybe you
You know what? Like when I, think about, sustainability, to be fair, and since we worked where we worked, right? One thing, as you asked me, and my first answer was the same, that I'm not talking enough. And when I look at my own work, or the brand, right? I think Raj isn't talking enough, and I'm just like, the people who do the less are talking the most, and I'm like literally, doing this every day, in and out, days and nights and all of that. And I think I'm not doing the right thing. Like, I should be talking more and
definitely.
probably leaving this for now and just, talking more about it. Yeah, so it's funny in my head when I think about both the situations, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, but I think from your point, I get it because it's like you're trying to do the right thing, like keeping your business alive. But I think maybe do more behind the scenes. It'll be nice to see what goes on because I've seen some of your posts as well, and it's nice to see like behind these intricate designs and behind all the time you put into launching it. Like it's nice to see what goes on behind the scenes, like honestly. But I know there's only so much
Point
posting you
noted.
can do. but
Point noted.
but I
I'll definitely, yeah. I do get this a lot. Like, okay, we need to see what's more, because the thing is, right, like, uh, it takes, because obviously, wherever the brand's situated, right? Like, when I first started, I needed to train so much. Like, I
yeah.
needed to train people a lot, like what I mean by the business, what sustainability means, how I mean it. And I think it's very easy, for founders or for the brands itself, like to get lost in this area. Like, like if you're working, if you're constantly doing something, like, working everything together, it just, gets really like, I wouldn't say tiring, but
Mhm.
it is a lot to do, a lot to handle. And definitely, I think that's a really good feedback that we should incorporate more behind the scenes, because I think there's a lot that happens. And people like, I've got this a lot, that we want to see more of Raji, we want to see more what goes around. Like, I want to see the fun part, I
Yeah.
want to see like, what's about it. So I think I just have to need to make a team about it. Like, you just gonna do the behind, like the behind the scenes, do it, and come back to me in end of the day, and let's see where we are.
Yeah, because I think we want to see more about the owner as well, like yourself, Priya. Like, you know, you've invested so much time into this, but we don't see you as much, you know? Like, I see these amazing designs, but yeah, I want to see what else you like, how you do this, like, you know, the process and sort of like, it'd be amazing to see that.
Definitely, definitely. Guys, if you're live, my team, if you hear that, this is something you really need to take care
I'll help if you need any help. But I know it's hard
of.
though because sometimes we can get very stuck in the moment and like it's to be fair there's a preciousness in being in the moment, you know, just doing that no video and no cameras around as well, but we need a little bit more of that sometimes as well, maybe like even if it's for your special pieces or something, but I'm just trying to just
Mhm.
help like give you some ideas
No,
maybe just think.
yeah, definitely. That is a massive help, because yeah, we definitely need more, behind the scenes, like the process especially,
Yeah.
because a lot goes around. We are in the middle of a bit of rebranding as well.
Okay.
So yeah, that would definitely have a few bits of it as well,
Mhm.
because we because there's so much that is going around. Like, we're doing jewelry, we're doing, I mean, accessories.
Yeah,
We're doing the accessory bit. Then we started, getting in touch with the weavers, with the saris, and the ethnic sides there, then the Western sides there, then the menswear sides there, and then on top of that, we are trying to train students, the university level students, to how to get portfolios done, and
definitely.
etc. So yeah, like I think with the whole rebranding, this is a very good point to include, like like probably invest more time. We would probably invest more time in process, and how things are done, and even like who we're doing it, like where we're getting done, what does it stand for, etc. Definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I
important.
think one thing to note, I just wanted to say, like, regardless, even though how busy you are, you still make time to like train other people and do these workshops. I feel like you should be like so proud of yourself for that, because I know how busy you are. I know how busy you are, but you still find time to train these people, these aspiring designers, and I think that's such like a nice blessing within itself. So like, yeah, like that's it's just a really nice thing to see. You're not just as much as you want to probably be just focused on your business entirely, you're still taking time because you were once a young designer with aspiring design dreams, and I feel like you come from that perspective where like you're trying to help other people as well, and it's just so nice to see, honestly.
When you say how busy you are, that reminds me, we haven't spoken in 3 years, and I was like, sorry.
I haven't seen you physically for 3 years.
Yeah, crazy.
Thank God for video calls.
We'll get
Right.
better.
Yes, we definitely will.
Right. Do you have more questions for me, or do you want me to go
um,
ahead with mine?
I've got a couple of questions on diversity, or do you want to circle back to that after?
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
So I guess I wanted to ask you from like, to be fair, we have touched upon this about how brands can cover diversity. So maybe we can skip that question. I can move on to another one.
Up to you, like I'm open.
Okay, I'll ask you, how would you say diversity can be displayed via clothes? I feel like I know that's it's a very like, I know what answer I would say, but what would you say, like, from your point of view as a designer?
I think diversity, right? As I said, like, it's more about learning
Hmm.
and learning others' perspective.
Yeah.
So I think if we are really diverse, if we call ourselves diverse, I think going into someone's heritage is one way to, show diversity. Like, say, recently, I think Dior did a collection where they showed the artisans of India,
Okay.
and it was a show done in Mumbai, and I think it was done from a school of embroidery somewhere near Mumbai itself.
Hmm.
So, but we need to also understand that a lot of Indian artisans are doing, French collections from a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's only about time when the brands have actually started to talk about this, that, okay, if we are getting this embroidered, it's India,
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, I think if brands are getting things done somewhere else, especially when you talk about
Yeah.
details, especially if you talk about surface, texture making,
Hmm.
if it's the detail bit, if it's something that is done aesthetically, right?
Hmm.
And if you're getting it done somewhere else, if you're getting inspired by some other culture, you should talk about it.
Yeah.
That's one thing I think brands should do more often.
Hmm.
Like, they're obviously they mass produce in spaces like India and Bangladesh and Pakistan and places like this.
Hmm.
I I get like that is you just getting things manufactured, but when it's about the detailed work, I think you should talk more about it. It's been like there isn't there's not even one French brand who hasn't get their work done from India. Like when you talk about embroideries or surface making and stuff like that. So I think if that is one way to really show how diverse you are, because you are diverse. I don't know why you're not talking about it. Like my situation.
I feel like I agree with you. Credit should be given where credit is due. Like you shouldn't, you know, like it's fair if you come to India to get your embroideries done, you should definitely speak on it because how else are people supposed to know that, yeah, it's, made in India is, well, not made in India, but it was embroidered in India, those surface levels, etc. Like the small little things. I'm sorry, I don't know
Mm-mm.
all the design talk.
No, you're doing great.
I'm picking up the lingo from you.
But don't you think like this is something like I think they should do more like often. Like what are your thoughts on like how they can incorporate diversity in a brand?
I think I agree with you. Firstly, give credit where it is due. And I think look at the people who are your actual designers. Sometimes you need to go back to scratch. Yeah, their designs can be amazing, but if they're spewing the same stuff and it's not different, and you want to add a bit of something different, look at the new up and coming talent, because like you said, they're looking at being sustainable as well. They've got fresh ideas and they're also more relatable as well. But then there's two sides to that. So I get it. There's the like old sort of side of it, but there's also the new side of it of up and coming and what the future will sort of hold. So yeah, that's my view of it essentially. I feel like there's a lot that can still be done for diversity though, definitely, I think.
You're right. Like, you can like there's so many young designers who are doing really well. They are, doing the photography bit, the designing bit, then, the other bits.
Yeah,
I think of obviously like we understand that you can't give the entire things on their shoulders, but you can handhold them. Like you can, learn from each other as well. Like, probably he or she knows, a fresher knows what's fresh, what do the consumer of now wants from what,
exactly.
from which brand. So that would probably help the brands. And, if you can outsource some of the bits from the young designers and probably teach them at the same time, I think that would be a good collaboration of, just thoughts and designs. And yeah, that I think that'll be really great.
No one's saying do like a major collaboration. Sometimes I think it's the little things like
Yeah,
just,
it's just little bits, exactly. Yeah.
no one's saying to these brands go and put your whole life on the line for them, but it's just like
Mm-mm.
little things.
Yeah, exactly.
These are little things, like support someone, because I feel like it can be career breaking as well, like having that one breakthrough with that one brand or design or whoever, it can
Hmm.
change like the elevation of things as well, I think. But
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
But while we're on diversity, this is my final question actually.
Okay.
I wanted to ask you, do you have any brands that for you are like a great example of diversity that you would say, yeah, do you know what, there's someone to look up to?
Right. Again, as I said, if we see diversity, right, I think there's not one specific brand that has, a checklist that are like ticked all their things off the checklist. But yeah, like brands, not necessarily from fashion, but brands like Johnson and Johnson, or the other brands, probably tech brands are doing it.
Hmm.
They are doing it more than fashion brands, because fashion is, I think we get really tied up, when we're in fashion, because we feel in extreme. So
Yeah,
I feel that's what like gets around when you're in fashion, that okay, I'm probably it's all about like if my ideology marries the other ones or not.
definitely.
So I think when we talk about diversity, I think fresh fashion brands are doing okay,
Hmm.
but I other brands like the tech ones, Apple, Google, these brands are really using the brains from other other ethnicity, and they are really getting what it is to be in a very diverse culture, to be fair. Yeah,
Definitely.
so I wouldn't vouch for fashion at all. I'm sorry.
I think one thing I've realized, I think fashion is just very subjective, and in the main players, they've got such an ideology that fashion is, A, B, and C, that they will only continue to follow that through, which is why it's a little bit worrying. But I think there are up and coming brands like yourselves and other brands as well that will sort of maybe change this demarcation and potentially help us in the future to be better for the world, essentially, than the same old. Because like I said, I think some of these brands are very old money. They're very established in certain ways and they won't change their ways, kind of thing, I think. But yeah, that's that.
Don't you agree though? Like, what do you think? Which brand has, tick this off their checklist, like being diverse. Like
In fashion, because nothing in fashion. Like you said, there's Nike, Apple. Like Nike has done very, very well.
Nike, yeah, Nike. I would give 10 out of, sorry, 7 out of 10 to Nike. Yeah, definitely.
They haven't got the full free yet, but they're close.
Yeah, yeah, they're close. They're close. I
But
agree. Yeah.
definitely, I think Nike. I think, like you said, other industries have done so well, but I think fashion is just so bleak. Like, there's always that certain ethnicity that's always either doing the modeling or something, and it's just like, okay, it's the same narrative. It hasn't been changed, and it just worries. It's
Mm.
like, is that narrative ever going to change? Are you guys ever going to do anything different? But yeah, let's see, right?
Let's see. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for all the kids and all the brands and all and everything.
Hopefully, the changer. They have to be.
Yeah, I think that's one good way to go. I think if brands really like, try to learn and educate themselves from other genre of brands, right? Like Google or Nike is a good example, and other brands were not of fashion, but the techniques or the tools they're using to create this environment and the friendly bits for people. I think that would be great help, and yeah.
I think it's a lot of mainstream media as well, though, that I think controls a lot of this, controls a lot of what the consumer sees. Like when I
Hmm.
go on TikTok, it's the same.
Do you ever come out of TikTok? I can't. Even though it's banned in India, yeah. Like I know. I just remember being in UK and never coming out of TikTok
Yeah,
like reels ever. Like
I'm literally obsessed with the app. Like it's like
is.
the same brands, but I feel like if brands were to just delve into there, you would see there's so many young creators that have got so many amazing ideas, so many of their own brands that if they were to invest in them, they would actually see a peak in it. And I think these retailers need to be careful. They might not be around for that much longer, maybe, with the way I think social media is coming and things are
That's true.
happening.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Because even like if we talk about the likes of Harrods, Selfridges, H&M, Zara, like retail is slowly dying, I think, because when you go out shopping, yeah, you want to go and look at these things, materially feel them and stuff, but they're still not able to keep up to date with what's up and coming. Like they should invest into their e-commerce, like when you go onto these makeup brands, you can try makeup on, you can look at your foundation before you try it. But why don't we have something where you can try on different outfits before you buy them, Like adjust it to your size, whatever you are as a person, and do it. But brands are just like, not brands, retail is just so slow. It's the same narrative, it's dying. The turnover is huge as well. But I just think I'm bitter because when we work there.
Yeah. Like, no, I think you learn from the experiences, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
I get where you're coming from,
Yeah.
because I definitely resonate with you when comes to that, because when I was forming this whole Rajay thing, right? I had this very profoundly, sounding in my head that I am not going to start with the physical store.
Yeah.
Like that was one thing I made very clear to myself. Like I'm not doing that right now. Probably later. Like definitely, every brand wants their own physical retail shop.
Of course.
But starting off, I think this is not where I want to start off with.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how the website was created and the application was created. A lot work is going behind even now, like to rebrand it, and the website is having a little bit of revamp. Because a lot of UX and UI side is still a need. It needs to get get
Yeah.
refresh ways of handling it
Hmm.
for especially for customers, right? So yeah, when like coming from retail, that was just one thing that I thought for myself, like, okay, I'm not starting off with retail. Like this is something for laters probably, but we saw like where things could go wrong,
Yeah.
so yeah, I do agree with you. Like retail is definitely dying. Probably it would have uh, future if they have more engaging bits. Like
Yeah.
engaging in a way like you have to really tick someone's mind, or everyone's just copying everyone else, right? Like
Yes.
yeah. So if it's engaging people, if they haven't seen something where, like, where they can use their brains. I think that's where the retail experience comes in. And yeah, like, we just kind of like need to change the game for a bit. Like, there's this brand called Gentle Monster, and they're actually sunglasses brand, but they put up stalls, but they don't talk about sunglasses. Like, they don't. Like, they would be, they would be selling jelly beans of their brand name on it, or they would be selling something else whatsoever, but there's never sunglasses.
No.
So it
Okay.
always, yeah, it always, takes the customer's hair, like, what is this? Like, what are we doing? Is this a jelly bean brand like we never knew about? Like, what is going on? There was this one time they had this massive balloons just spread all across the city,
What?
and yeah, it was like, yeah, they're doing some crazy stuff, and I'm pretty sure like other brands are matching up
Yeah.
to them as well. But yeah, things like that, I think it's more about the retail
Yeah.
experience nowadays than just about, shelf, like, rails or shelves for customers now as well. Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is down to marketing, like how you're saying,
Yeah.
how you perceive yourself. I think, like, as we're moving forward in life now, the e-commerce side is booming. If you don't have an e-commerce platform that is solid, I feel like there's no
Hmm.
point investing in this retail side, because only, like, let's be honest, only old money, like where we used to work, personal shoppers, for example, people that had that sort of money would go there, not think about anything. Whereas people nowadays, they want to go just do some window shopping for the sake of getting out the house. And I feel like that's why, like, when we used to hear, sales are down and stuff, we weren't surprised, because it's like, what are you,
What do you expect?
where do you want me to start this from? It's not selling. Please get off my
That
back.
looks like your problem, not mine.
Exactly. But honestly, I feel like I agree with you completely. You need to be different. And I think because they've been so comfortable doing the same thing, like, it's the same regurgitating thing every single year, nothing different, nothing to meet the consumer. Because I think one thing as well though is the quality, because I've noticed sometimes designer brands that we see are not always the best quality. They charge like a lot of money, but it's literally just a simple stamp, like you're saying. And a lot of these things are manufactured in the likes of India, Bangalore, etc. as well. So it's just a bit like, okay, right, you need to invest in more quality and stop charging so much. And maybe you'd get somewhere, but
Yeah, true.
yeah, because I've realized, like, when I used to buy all these designer things, like they would wash out, or like they'd start bubbling, and it's just like, so essentially I could have got this from Primark, right? But instead I'm here like wasting all this money. And like, I think that's why I'm kind of a bit off of designer brands now. Like, I don't really shop for them, because it's just like, it's a waste of money. I'm not actually getting anything from it at all. But yeah. Sorry.
That,
Tangent.
that's interesting. No, really. Like, we have, I think we have a really long way to go if we talk about quality as well. Like, yeah.
We have a long way to go. And I feel like those brands that are just focusing, like yourselves, on the e-commerce side, getting yourself out there, doing your branding and your marketing, I think you guys will go so much further than these same things. Because let's be honest, sometimes people only go to these retailers because the brand is actually out of stock on these things. So it's like, okay, right, let's go
Mm-mm.
to this website, let's purchase this. But it's never like a first sort of resort, It's always, let's go to the brand site, let's get these things first. So, and I just think the lack of quality is just insane. Like, I don't think I've bought anything designer for the last 2 years now, because it's just like, it's pointless. Forget it. Shop on Temu if I really want something.
I'm not giving you my money,
Exactly.
like, for what you're talking about.
Exactly. Just go away. But
That's true. Surprisingly, like, interestingly, sorry.
yeah,
My next question was, where do you think the future of retail is going? Now you just answered it. I think I'm done with that question.
I think, because I work in the telecoms industry, so for me, we see where like 5G, 4G, and 6G, like in the future, are going to be up and coming. And
Right.
brands very quickly need to get on board with this, like, VR, for example, like I said to you, being able to try on these clothes and stuff, and just envision for the future of what's the next step of having that better consumer experience. Because we all do the thing where we buy things and take them back because they don't look nice, but how can we enhance that experience where you have less returns and stuff? But on the plus opposite side of that, I think where fast fashion, what? Where fast fashion sits, where fast fashion sits, like Pretty Little Thing, they don't care because for them it's just quick. Okay, right, let's get these things out. Boo
I'm
hoo, you know.
surprised it's still running.
I know exactly. Like honestly, the clothes are disgusting. I don't even shop on there anymore. Honestly, but it's the Western world as well. Though that's the thing. Like people want this quick sort of easy thing because
Mm-mm.
they will literally just copy the big brands, won't they? Just like Zara's a little bit like more middle priced, I would say. You have your high end, middle, and then your low end. So yeah, it's interesting. I guess let's see. But my fingers are crossed for Label Rage.
Thank you. Mine too, guys.
We'll be fine. Don't worry.
It's been a fun ride though, definitely. Like it
Definitely.
has never let me like, sleep thinking like, okay, there's nothing for tomorrow, that has never happened. So yeah,
It's
let's
exciting.
see.
But
It
let's
is, it
see.
is. It is.
Just got to go for the future and just, if we don't take risks, we won't know what will come of it. But you've got this. So
Trust me, it's all about like all I've done in these past 3 years, I've just taken risk, I feel like I'm just been
yeah.
risking everything.
It will pay off though, don't worry, honestly. It will all pay off. It always will, trust me. My fingers. And if we don't make mistakes, we'll never learn from them. So, yeah,
True,
exactly.
true, true. Agree, agree.
But it was
So
lovely
what do you,
to you.
what would you do? Sorry, what?
What were you going to say? Sorry. What would I do?
What would you do to correct a little bit of this, like correct like the retail space, like
Uh,
so like if we're talking about like a little bit of correction, like obviously like we can't achieve
yeah.
everything all at once, but the that simple little bit that probably people are missing out, like since we have come from the yellow bubble,
Yeah.
Selfridges and stuff like that, so we kind of have a little bit of idea like okay, because we see both from the customer point of view and then the employee point of view as well. So where do you think like where we lacking like?
I think what I learned was we try to lead the customer too much. So we put things out there by thinking, yeah, they will want this, that, and the other brand. But I think a lot of it goes back down to the diversity of it. There's not as many options as the consumer wants. Like from what I used to see, if you don't see what you want or something that's enticing or appealing to you, then you're not going to purchase it because why am I going to waste
Mm-mm.
my money on on something that I don't really want? So I feel like what I sort of have thought of, like definitely seen is that we need to invest more into different types of like diversity essentially, different types of clothing lines and things that will entice each consumer because not every consumer is the same. You'll have your few that come in and purchase the brand that you want to sell, but stop trying to oversell something that you're not even convinced about yourself, really and truly. That's what I think.
Definitely,
But
yeah.
I think it's just about, I think it will all start with investing in your diversity and your young designers as well because they're fresh, they've got new ideas, they know what's up and coming as well. I think sometimes we need to take a step back and look in rather than try and
Mm-mm.
like just, keep going with the same thing because these same things eventually will die out. They won't last for as long as we want them to. But what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree definitely. Like having more diverse minds, in fact, like because you can't say that you know everything.
Yeah,
None of no brands know everything or they know what they're doing because it's a shift of consumer base as well.
definitely.
Gen Z was here, then the next alpha or whatever generation's gonna come and they're gonna be like even more savvy about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously if we are not learning about okay what's next, I
Hmm.
think that's where we're going wrong. So
Yeah,
yeah, I agree with what you just said. Like we need to be diverse about the ways in fashion and retail, especially because retail space is something. It's like a landscape you create for
yeah,
the consumers to, grasp and absorb what you want to say, what's your story, and stuff like that. So I think it's more about what you want to say, and it's more about what they want to hear,
yeah,
if I make sense.
yeah, definitely.
Right. So I think yeah, it's if you're able to marry these two things, I think that's where you are taking it to next level, definitely.
And I think brand need to be a bit more authentic, while retailers need to be just a bit more authentic, like actually come from a real place where you want to actually engage with the consumer. You're not just
Mm.
doing things for the sake of it, which I think a lot of them do tend to do right now, you know. It's just sort of keeping yourselves going because they're so used to the same vicious cycle sort of thing. But yeah, I guess let's see. It's
We're
interesting.
hopeful. Yeah.
We've got to be hopeful. So I think the fashion industry will change eventually. I think the change is coming, but I think it'll be an as and when thing, you know, because I think everything changes.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah, yeah.
I think after COVID, I think a lot of things definitely really changed, but I think
100%.
still
Yeah.
so much more to do, you know, like e-commerce has definitely picked itself up, but you know, these sorts of shops that are just trudging along, it's like, okay, what's next for yourselves, you know? What about giving room for the other brands that have actually got the capacity, can actually relay these messages and give a new outlook to the businesses as well. But yeah, it's interesting and it's exciting as well to see what will come of the future.
Yeah, definitely exciting times. No. Yeah.
But did you have any more questions?
I think I'm done with mine. Do you have any more
No,
questions?
I finished all my questions like too early.
Amazing. Is anyone watching or, anyone here has a
Oh, it's
question?
only.
Anyone? Anyone in the previous comment section? Okay, I had a few people, messaging
Uh-huh.
when we posted about the, live. So someone's question was, do quiet luxury and diversity go along? That was I was I was amazed by this question. I was like, wow, why didn't I think about this?
I think yes and no. I think there's an element, yeah. I think there's an element, yes, because I think there are certain quite luxury items that anyone can wear, regardless of, you know, where you come from, whatever your background is. But I also think there's an element of no, because I think certain people just wouldn't go near certain items of quite luxury. I just think it is the way it is. But I think there is definitely, I think, a market there. I think that once I think the first pillar that we have to meet is actually having more diversity within retail and fashion firstly, then from there I think it can slowly integrate itself into having more quiet luxury and having more specifics for itself. But I think until we get over the first hurdle, I think for now no, but until we get over the first hurdle, then there may be a potential. Yeah, what about you?
So
What do you think?
So yeah, the maybes there. Even me,
Yeah.
like these two are really like different topics. And
Yeah.
if we see about like I think the only one thing that came into my head when we talk about quiet luxury and then diversity, like as I said earlier that right, if you embrace someone's culture, and make it a really diverse collection, but in a very quiet way, in a very subtle way, in a very elegant way, rather than putting logos on it or shouting about your brand
Yeah,
on it.
definitely.
So I think that's one way one can achieve that. I think it's doable because like quiet luxury is something that only people with money could get or buy, and it depends on the brand if they're really focused in this bit of giving customer experience
Yeah.
through products and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think one thing as well, though, is we need to break this narrative that all cultures are loud as well. Because I think a lot of people have this anticipation that, you know, in a certain culture that Asian cultures only big blingy dresses, it's only big flamboyant.
Mm,
But it's like, it's the complete opposite. And if you took the time and the energy to
to
actually,
understand,
you can
yeah.
understand so much more that it's not just what you think, but it's your lack of. I think it comes back to ignorance again. You don't know enough, and you're therefore. I think that's why they choose not to invest, because they don't know. So yeah, I think a lot of that would come down to a lot of points that we've already discussed in this. I was about to say this
Yeah.
meeting, in this live, in this live. But yeah.
Right.
What else? Did anyone
Right.
ask you anything else?
Uh, Not from here. Right. Do you have anything else in your mind that you want to like, like talk about in this area of, fashion and retail space and
I
stuff like that?
think,
Or
like you said, it's
how do you stay true to your design philosophy when trends change? Oh,
how do you
yeah, like if I be honest, like, as I said, like whatever we design, right, we make sure that less and less, goes to
yeah.
waste, like goes to waste. And another thing that we have, really cared about is like um, the employee, like the employee experience as well, because it's not necessary that if I have an idea that will resonate with the team as well.
Mhm.
So I kind of like make sure that we have different sorts of workshop among us,
Mhm.
or different sort of like seminars, or just presentations to talk about the topic and see what the other person's doing. So it's more like a peer feedback that you get. And that's how we sort of like design the collections, and still try to be we still that's how we still try to be in the trend, like whatever's new and upcoming. One thing I would really want to mention, that whenever we design, and whenever something comes up with the trend, like say for example, um, if they're loose t-shirts, or the knotted t-shirts, right? So
Mhm.
we would go about and think about the designs. Okay, this is there, but how do we do it? Like, how do we do it sustainably, like sustainability wise? And how do we like waste less, that so that the consumer, it's not left up to the consumer to waste, or like make the choice, basically. So yeah, that's one way that because as you know, like we are doing the ethnic bit, the sari bit, then the menswear, the western side, the western wear side. So that's what that one thing we have made sure that we wouldn't waste.
Mhm.
That's something that has always been ticked off. First thing, that okay, if we're doing this, we could like probably invest some time into like saving
Mhm.
whatever we have got. Like, yeah.
Mhm.
And I think since we are, and like an emerging brand, I would say, like, we started from the scratch. So that, that came from within. Like, okay, we got to make the best out of this situation. Like, this is make or break situation, right? So yeah, that just comes. I think now the team just knows, like, okay, this probably is going that way. So yeah, yeah, that way, yeah.
As well, oh God, I think having the ideas where you can like bounce off each other, because sometimes I think we can naturally, I think we all become a bit tunnel vision where we want our own ideas, but I think sometimes where we give other people the opportunity, it's nice because they might have an input that can take a product from here to like here, just that little enhancement and stuff. So, and I think it's nice how you integrate your team into it as well, so it's not just you, it's everyone working as a group for it. So that's exciting.
Thanks. Yeah, it gets interesting. Like, I have learned a lot, to be fair, especially the students that come along.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, I have learned my profession somewhere which was in another country,
Mhm.
and bring all the knowledge here, where there's already a set standard,
Yeah.
to get things along. Like, I had to work really hard to get things going. But now when I see people like grasping it, it just is really interesting. And sometimes I'm just like, okay, my team knows what they're doing. They the way they have beautifully like carved their whole situation, where because obviously, like, I had a certain expectation. Okay, how can I do this?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of discussions. Okay, this could be done this way. And obviously I had to train a lot to get things done. But the way, because all the designers in my in our brand are freshers mostly, because it's a it's a really fresh brand
Yeah.
as well. So like their ideas, like they amaze me at times, like with their ideas. So yeah, it's been really nice.
There's
Uh,
one
yeah.
question.
How do you navigate the balance between creativity and commercial viability, right? Same thing again. Same thing again. Like it's really hard, by the way, like to balance these two things because like handling a business and creating, these are really like these two, they both are creative work,
Hmm.
but you can get really wired up, and you wouldn't even know like where you started from. So yeah, like I think this is something that I would suggest every young designer, that give some headspace when you're creating something, because that's completely different. You would want to switch off all the lights and just draw on your iPad sometime, and the other time you have to go ahead and promote things in the wild, people who don't know fashion probably, and stuff like that. So yeah, it is interesting.
Oh, that's really
Yeah.
exciting. I think it's nice seeing how you've evolved as a person as well, though. Like, the leading, the mentoring of people as well, and like how you're balancing everything from designing and then the commercials as well of it. Like, yeah, it's exciting, and yeah, I'm excited to see the future for you as well, honestly. So
Thank you.
proud
I
of
like it wouldn't have been without your, sweet words. Like your messages always, boost me up. Like I can't deny. There have been times where, it has been a wrong day for me, and then your message just pops up like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Wow, I needed this."
Oh, honestly, I love reading your messages as well. It's like the highlight of my day because of our time differences. Usually, it'll be the morning or the afternoon. But it's just
Yeah.
whenever you message me, it's just so nice to hear from you, and it'll always be at the right time. Like, we all have our bad days, and it's just a nice boost because it's like takes me back to the days when we actually used to see each other. Because now we don't at
Yeah,
all.
man.
But yeah,
Right. It's been amazing.
thank you so much for having
Thanks.
me.
Thanks, Sharon, for joining with us. It's been really lovely. It's been amazing. Thanks everyone else who have, invested their times in a, live session.
Thank
And we hope, people like we can include people like Sharon and, get the energy going and stuff like that. And probably have more, behind the scenes work done
definitely,
for Ajay.
definitely.
Definitely, that's one thing I'm taking out of, from this live session. Thank you, Sharon. Thanks for
Worries.
taking out your time.
It's okay.
Thanks for,
Keep having me.
thank
I'll definitely
you.
see you after this now anyway, so don't worry. But I'll
Yeah, we
leave you
should.
to it. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, honestly, and thank you everyone as well. And thank you for taking the time, Priya. And good luck. My fingers are crossed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All the best to everyone and to you, Sharon, as well.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.